Today's film is a doozy. I mean, I just can't stand it, and
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Courtney, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing. I'm just combining movies.
What are you doing?
For example, watch what happens when I combine Alvin and the Chipmunks with the A-Team remake. Let it sit for a little bit, and boom, G-Force.
That doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, I know, but still, you get the idea. Right now, I'm working on my magnum opus, my masterpiece. It'll get thousands upon thousands of fans. Well, I have the perfect formula. Watch what happens when I combine The Walking Dead, Princess Mononoke for a dash of anime, and Lord of the Rings.
Sounds like a promising combination.
This might take a few minutes. Let's step back. Attack on Titan.
What's Attack on Titan?
I don't know. Let's give it a watch.
I'll admit, I never grew up with anime. I mean, sure, I've seen some of Pokemon, Digimon, those are kids' cartoons. And I've been introduced to things like Naruto, Bleach, and so forth, and they can all have some creative elements. But sometimes I just can't get into those kinds of shows because, at times, it can take an entire episode to explain how they're going to perform one move. And that's just really tiresome for a show. It's kind of cool to know how and why something works, but at the same time, you could pretty much sum it up as I can't get through his armor. I'm just gonna have to perform my all-time ultimate move. I win. And that would be more engaging, and then maybe you could explain how he did it later on, instead of in the midst of the action dragging it out for 4 or 5 episodes in a fight that should have only taken half an episode. Nothing against those shows. They could all have good elements about them, especially characters. But at long last, something came along that drew my interest. This little masterpiece, known as Attack on Titan. Ever since I heard about it and how popular it was getting, it just incurred my interest. The concept and the overall story just was like, you know what? It sounds like something I want to check out. Now, for a long time, the only animes I've really been into are the Hayao Miyazaki Disney films. So, you know, like My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, and so forth. And I just had to check this out. But what I saw, not only did it surprise me, it surpassed all of my expectations. I refer you to the beginning of this review because Lord of the Rings, Walking Dead, Mononoke, it just all comes together, and that's pretty much what you get. And it's awesome. Now, I don't want to spoil the story for you because there are so many moments and characters that you just have to engross yourself in the story as you watch this. You don't want any of it spoiled for you. Again, like watching The Walking Dead, I don't want any of that spoiled for me because I love these characters. I'm interested in the journey that they're going through and where they're going to end up, and when a character dies, it genuinely shocks me. I don't want to see that little spoiler on Facebook about it. It's like, no, stop it, stop. Don't tell me that the governor chopped off Herschel's head. But you get my point. It has a similar way of telling its story. Not exactly, because it's giant human eating titans, a completely different ball game. But in terms of the characters and the things that they're going through, these emotional and horrifying turmoils that they have to go through day in and day out in this horrifying reality, it gets incredibly intriguing as to what a character is thinking throughout the course of this show. I'm going to try to explain this and not spoil it. The focus on the show follows the story of Aaron, and after he suffers an incredibly tear-jerking and gut-wrenching loss, you see from that point on he is absolutely determined and enraged to defeat these titans, and that's what he's dedicated his life to. There are several other characters in the story, some I'm still working on remembering their names, and of course the character that everybody loves, Mikasa, the most badass fictional female character of all time, at least one of them. But other than the fact that these titans are eating people, trying to break into the walls of human civilization so they can get to them, several different elements come up during this show that completely change this scenario, like titan shifters. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but basically humans that could turn into a titan at will. Now, I'm probably not going to read the manga right now because I don't want to know who the Colossal Titan is yet or who the Armor Titan is yet, because I just want to see that in the show and be like, oh my god! It surprises you at every turn that you don't expect it to, especially with grisly death scenes, losing characters that you don't want to lose. I'm the badass! It's just an anime show that really throws you for a loop. It's most adults will be like, oh, it's a cartoon, obviously it's for kids. This is not for kids. You show this to your kid, they're going to be traumatized for life. The story is incredibly well tied together. The environment and atmosphere that this entire world portrays is incredibly eerie, grisly, and something you would not have expected to see in an animated show. The characters are deep and incredibly complex as to what inner turmoils are going through in this horrifying age of titans eating people. Let's not forget the incredibly badass grappling devices that the soldiers use to fight the titans. I mean, they're going everywhere. They're essentially flying all over the place with their big-ass swords. It's no holds barred. There's a lot of blood, a lot of grisly death scenes. It's terrifying sometimes, especially with the titans' blank expressions. Point is, it gets crazy during these action scenes. They are incredibly well put together and keeps you pulled in as to what this is, and they don't take 20 minutes to explain, oh, I'm going to chop at this titan's neck. Done. It's like that. Just like that. It doesn't need to take its time, it just goes right into the action and explains itself afterwards through what the character is going through. And that's at least one of the reasons that makes this show incredibly, incredibly good. I don't want to spoil it for you because I think everybody should check this out. Believe it or not, this is something you definitely need to check out. This is an absolute winner, and hopefully season 2 is just as intense and incredible. Attack on Titan. Incredible animation, eerie and grisly atmosphere and story, memorable characters, badass action. Attack on Titan easily deserves a 10 out of 10 across the board. It's no holds barred. It does what it needs to do. It gets to the action. It gets to the incredibly thought-provoking story. It's just fantastic. This has been a Way Fast review. We'll see you next time on Team Epic Bulls. Now for the next review. I know, something none of you have ever heard of. Redwall, the animated series. Tune in next time.